Next one. Let's look at a simple event. A simple event is an event that has only one element in it. For example, E1, head-head, okay? Only one possible outcome in E1. So E1 is a simple event. E3, two tails in a row, tail, okay? It's also one element in it. So both E1 and E3 are simple events. A compound event, an event that has more than one element in it. For example, E2, head-tail, tail-head. E5, we see a head on the first three. Head-tail or head-tail, okay? They all have what? More than one possible outcome. So this is what we call E2, E4, are what we call compound events. Now, next one. Let's review some relations from set theory, okay? Some of you probably have seen this one from high school, but let's see, okay? Let's see. Let's review the concept again. First one, let's look at A and B, okay, A and B. The intersection of two events A and B is an event consisting of all outcomes that are in both A and B. Read as A and B, or some mathematicians say A intersection B. For example, E4 and E5, okay? E4 and E5 is head-tail. When we say A and B, what does that mean? Look at here. When we say A and B, that means we are correcting the common outcomes. Or what? A and B. Okay? So what's E4? E4 is in random experiment 1, we see a head on the first three. And second one can be head or tail. That's E4. And what is E5? E5 is we see a tail on the second three. So this is head tail or what? Tail tail. Now, E4 and E5, what are their common outcome? Head tail, head tail. So E4 and E5 share one common outcome, and that is what? Head and tail. Okay? Now, look at E1 and E2. Let's look at E1 and E2. E1 is we see two heads in a row in random experiment 1. And E2 is we see exactly one head. Head, tail, and what? And tail, head. We see exactly one head. And look at E1 and E2. Do they share any common outcome? No. So we put a bracket, but put nothing inside. Or we can use what? A mathematical notation. This is called empty set. Okay, this is called empty set. When two elements, they share no common outcome. This is the case, we're going to give you another new definition. Okay? Definition. Two events A and B are mutually exclusive, or some textbook call them what? Disjoint. If A and B share no common outcomes. For example, E1 and E2 are disjoint. Or you say what? Mutually exclusive. Okay? Next one. A or B. A or B. Or some textbook call this is what? A union B. A union B. A or B. A or B is a union of two events A and B. Is an event consisting of all outcomes that are either in A or in B or in both. How we read it? We read as what? A or B, or A union B. For example, E4 or E5. Okay? E4 or E5. Look at here. In random experiment 1, when we see a head on the first flip, this is what? This is E4. So these two elements come from what? The event E4. And how we define E5? On the second flip, we see a tail. So these two outcomes come from what? E5. So E4 or E5, we just dump all the possible outcomes you see in E4 and E5 into this what? Bracket. However, if we take a close look, we do find head-tail what? Repeats. Head-tail, head-tail. And the same outcome don't need to be what? Repeated. So one of the head-tails should be what? Should be removed. After we remove one of them, okay, say we remove this one. How many left? Well, we have what? Head-tail, head-head, and tail-tail. And this gives us a very important hint about the cardinality of two events. Okay? Now, say how many outcomes in E4 or E5? It's 3. And how we get 3? Is a number outcome in 4 plus a number outcome in E5, subtract the 1 repeats. And the 1 repeats turn out to be what? Their common outcome. In general, we have the following identity. Okay? For any two events A and B, number outcome in A or B is a number outcome in A plus the number outcome in B, subtract by what? Their common outcomes. Okay? Now, next one. Let's look at A. A is contained in B. How we read this? This is what? A is contained in B. And how we read this? This one is what? B contains what? Contains A. Okay? So A is contained in B, or equivalently, B contains A. What is A is contained in B or B contains A? That is, whatever you can find in A, you can also find it in what? In B. For example, what's E1? E1 is we see two heads in a row. And what's E4? E4 is in random experiment 1, we see a head on the first trial, on the first flip. So this is head-tail and head-head. So look at here. Whatever you find in E1, in this case we have only one possible outcome in what? Head-head. You can also find head-head in what? E4. Whatever you have, I have. So E4 is what? Contains E1. Or we say E1 is contained in E4. Okay?